a shout. Jah will be waiting there. In this world of calamity, dirty looks and grudges and jealousy, and police where abuse them authority. Me the clowns when I know about variety. Boom, the youngest veteran I go murder them slow. Ragamuffin sent to call me from the bush bungalow. When I watch it make a clear out my voice now figure out. Emerge from the darkness with me big blood to glow. Me hammer them a slam and spectate I get low. Some boy coulda big like Bam Bam Bigelow. Bust off trigger finger, trigger end and trigger toe. A two gun me up, me bust them in a stereo. Cause I got to keep on walking on the road to Zion, man. Hey, we got to keep it burning on the road to Zion, man. Clean and pure meditation without a doubt. Don't make them take you like wood.
Hey world, my name's Eric. This is Quest for Kainon. So I have 6 days, $9, and probably a better chance of getting arrested for walking around with a camcorder than actually meeting Kainon. But hey, sometimes you just gotta go for it. Hope you enjoy.
Everyone keeps asking me how you're gonna get the money to do this, and I'm like, no, all to me it means a lot because I'm from Rwanda, man. For my mom, I know how much it means to her because I've had my hands. All I have is my hands to prove what I want to say to the world.
Did you sign that for him? As a member?
Can you sign the
Here you
like?
go.
Everybody in the class
he have a
coffee when we
coffee
go to the
too.
ceremony.
So do I.
Yes, Eric has one too. Okay, remember, not enormous, just a nice signature. Because Eric has to get around to all the classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be next year. Come on out.
Thank you.
Yes,
Say thank you for being a sign thinking. Hey, what's up world? It's Eric Mazimpaka, and just taking a moment to kind of reflect. I know with the last video I posted, I said this was the last video I make until the run was over, but I had some very, very powerful happen to me in the weekend, and I almost like froze to death on the side of the highway, and the only thing that kept me alive, and the only reason I'm here sharing this with you is because I had to keep moving, you know, I had to keep walking, and I was, at one point I remember finding this old blanket on the side of the highway, and at that point I didn't even care it was an old blanket on the side of the highway, you know, I'm just looking for warmth, looking for comfort, you know, and I was waiting for the sun to come up, and it was the longest night of my life, and it just felt like this cold, dark night, and I didn't even know if I was gonna make it, and at one point I was convinced that this was it, and I remember getting to this rest stop with this blanket that I found, and I'm trying to huddle and stay warm, and I couldn't. You know, and then I started getting warm, which scared me because then I started like hypothermia started kicking in. And at one point, I thought that maybe this is how it's supposed to happen. You know, like maybe this concert, this is, you know. And at one point, I was okay with that, but then I got up and I kept moving. And the only reason I'm alive is because I kept moving. And I made it through that cold, long night to see the sunrise. And no food, hungry, not being able to connect with anyone, and having people pass you by, and not even being able to get help from them because it's 4 in the morning, and really who wants to pick up a crazy dude on the side of the highway that late in the middle of nowhere that has a sign on his back says running for World Music Fest in Rwanda 2014, you know, like, those are the kind of people a lot of people tend to avoid, you know. But I made it, and, you know, and it's I always love that quote. It's the darkest before the dawn, and I realized in that one night that I spent, I was thinking how many people around the world are spending that same night, and if they stop moving, they're dead. If it's not from cold, it's from war. If it's not, and at that same night that I'm sharing and I'm trying to find warmth, several other people around the world are all looking for the same thing. But they're doing that every night, and I only had to do that for one night. And it was a very moving experience. And it made me realize I've been in that position before in my life, you know, where it was in that decision between choosing to keep moving to stay alive or just giving up and just, you know, just not. And I've been in that same situation. And what I'm about to say is really, it's only after this weekend am I able to share something like this, and I've been in that same situation, and the reason I'm sharing this is because I know a lot of other people have been in that same situation, in a cold, dark place where it seems like there's no sunrise and there's no hope, and sometimes you'd rather just give up, you know, and die. And I've been in that situation, and the only reason I'm about to say what I'm about to say is because I feel inclined to share that, because I know several other people have kind of been in the same position. And I remember 2 years ago, this is hard for me to kind of put out there, but as joyful as I seem, I was in a deep, dark place, and I was lost, and, you know, I really wasn't appreciating what I had. I dwelled too much on what I didn't have, and I remember being in that same crossroads, and I chose to give up, you know. I chose to you know, just not to live. And now that I kind of laugh about it, and it's not really that funny, but now that I'm at where I'm at in my life, I remember scrounging out my change and leaving a note for my roommates, and I was convinced that this was the last day I would ever live. And I remember going and buying some sleeping pills, and I remember I couldn't afford alcohol at the time, and now that I think about it, being poor really did save my life at that time. And making a playlist, and, you know, like, convinced that this was the last, and this was it. And I remember the last person I talked to was my older brother, and as soon as I started talking and I broke down, he kind of heard my voice, and he's like, where are you, and I just told him I love him, and then I remember opening the bottle and like drinking all these pills, and I remember the last song I listened to was Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, and I remember looking out of the ocean and fading, and then next thing I remember was this old lady and her dog and trying to wake me up, and then the moment I woke up, I started crying, and I just realized what I just did. And it takes a lot for me to share this, but the only reason I'm sharing it is because for anyone out there that's ever felt like that, like, you know, life is something that's shared, you know, like, and as dark, as dim as life sometimes seems, you cannot deny the beauty and the love in it. And sometimes you need those dark nights, those cold, dark nights to kind of remind you of that warm sun, that beauty, that love that resonates in this whole world. And a few months, actually not even a few months, a week after that, I remember I was hurt and lost, but I I hit bottom. And then I started painting, and then as soon as I started painting, I started looking at my, like, where I came from, and then it was this deep, like, deep light that kind of shined on everything that was beautiful in the world and what you are capable of creating. And I remember after I started painting, that's when all of a sudden I found myself now on this path, and 5-6 months later I'm making my way to Whistler with this giant painting of a musician that I absolutely admire and respect, Kanon, and meeting him, and that's what painting did for me. And it made me start looking at Rwanda and what the art is kind of used as this tool and this vehicle for the next generation. And in 2 years later, now I find myself running across Vancouver Island so I can raise awareness for this, because I believe that much in it. And I look back at the time when I chose not to keep moving, but just to give up and sit on the, you know, just give up. And yeah, that's you know, as dark as life can seem sometimes, you know, always hold your head up, and that light will shine, and that sunrise will come, and that new day will come, and the only person that's capable of all that change is you and the beauty that you see in the world. So I got 138 kilometers left. I thought I had less, but it turns out to be more. So thanks. This is Zach Marson, podcast with Scion Studios, and once again, God bless, and stay updated with Scion Studios, and one love, world. Hey, and just want to share with you a poem that had, you know, kind of actually, I guess, come to me while I was running. I planted my seed in the soil of my own faults. As blades of grass sway, winds did come. Sheltered my seed in the soul of my palms. Through changing seasons, I begged for my tree to come. As night skies glided by, with my last breath did I feed my seed. As my heart stopped, my tree did come, and carried me away from the soil of my own faults. Protect that which is yours, because one day your tree will come.